When using dates in a chart, you can experience this problem. So here I'm going to insert a chart. And you'll see it looks fine, but notice this says 31st of Jan, and that's saying 1st of Jan. That's 29th of Feb. That's the 1st of Feb. The reason this is because Excel has recognized these dates and it's tried to anticipate what you want. If I want to change it, I right click on it and I'll say Format Axes. And you'll see what it's doing here is it's saying it's going to automatically check, see are you a date, and do something with it. And notice it's got a whole bunch of options here about how you want to group it. In this case I don't. I want to see exactly what's typed here, over here. So you'll see I'm going to change this and say this is a text axis. And notice now it ignores the date and it just types exactly what you want to see. In a similar vein, if I go here, so here I've got a bit more data. So again I'm going to insert a chart. And notice we seem to have massive gaps here. I'd like to see these things right next to each other. But here Excel has seen the dates and decided that you've got the 16th, it's going to show the 17th, the 18th, etc. all the way up till there as blank. This is not what we meant. So again, I can go right click on that axis, format axes, tell it not to automatically select it, make it text, and you'll see now you have the dates you want right next door to each other with the relevant chart.
There are two ways that you can extract the month name, not the number, month name, out so you can actually see it. So the first way is you can format it correct. So here are the dates, you can see the date is typed in there. If I highlight this, I'm going to go Control-1 to my format cells. These are the normal formats. I'm going to go to Custom, and I can go in here, and if I change this, if I do 3 M's, it gives me the shortened version of the month name, and a 4th M gives me the full name, September. So when I say OK, I see the name of the month, but very important, notice that Excel is still seeing the full date. So this is Excel just being nice to the human. You see this, but Excel is seeing that. The other way to do it is to change it so that it actually sees the word September. For that, under the text category, there's a function called text. All it asks is point at this date, so I'm going to point over here. And the format text, we're going to use exactly what we used in the custom format. I'm just going to put inverted commas and I'm going to put 4 M's. 1, 2, 3, 4. Close them, and you'll see it's already telling you that's what it's going to look like. And I say OK, and I can copy it down, and this is now the word September.
In the newer versions of Excel, when you pull a date in, so if you look here, this has got actual dates. If I go to the pivot and I pull that date in to the rows, instead of showing the actual date, it actually automatically groups it. If you want that, that's great. If you don't, 2 ways to address it. One is a temporary solution. So all I do is I go here, I right click, and you'll see there's an ungroup button. And we get back to the original. I'm just going to undo that. The other way is to make it a permanent. So what we're going to tell Excel, we're going to go to the options, and under data, you'll see there's an option here called disable automatic grouping of date time columns in pivot tables. So this will stop it in all cases. So I'm going to switch that on. When I say OK, I'm just going to clear this again. And now when I pull the date in, because of that setting, it brings in what we expect to see, which is the date, and then you can decide by right clicking, you can decide to group it maybe in a different way, so maybe in months, and you'll see it does the grouping for you. When working with dates in Excel, it's very important you realize that Excel and humans see dates differently. So just to show you what this means, you'll see I've got some dates. What I've done is I've subtracted the numbers. So how many days from the 1st of January to the 31st of January. So humans tend to say 31. A computer, and Excel in particular, will say 30. The reason for this is because Excel uses the start or end of the day consistently. So the end of the 1st to the end of the 31st is 30 days. But humans tend to go 1st to 31st, the beginning of the 1st of January to the end of the 31st of January. So that's not consistent. So just be careful. If you want to see 31 days, for example, in January, you either need to compare it to the 31st of the previous month, so that it's going from the end of the day to the end of the day, or you need to look at potentially adding, and sometimes depending on what you're doing, subtracting one day. So when you're working with dates in Excel, very important you consider, what do I mean when I say 1st of January? Beginning of the day, end of the day, similar with this one, and just check that it's making sense to you.